There are many, many times when a person hires a lawyer, the lawyer gets involved in a legal matter, and the lawyer has absolutely no impact whatsoever on the legal proceedings or the legal issue that he's handling. I'll give you just one quick example. Last week, I was in district court. I was representing a criminal defendant who was charged with a relatively minor offense. There was an alleged victim involved, and the alleged victim hired a private lawyer to, advise her or to speak on her behalf or whatever it may be in the proceedings. Now, I didn't know this lawyer, but one of the court officers told me that the lawyer was a reputable litigator. So I'd imagine she paid this lawyer a fair amount of money to involve himself in the case. And what he was adamant about was that there needed to be a stay away and a no contact order in place if there were a plea. And so if my client got put on probation, which he did, there had to be a stay away and a no contact term or condition in the probation. Now, those terms were already part of the defendant's pretrial conditions, and they almost certainly would have been part of his plea. It would have just been a routine thing for those terms to be put into the plea and made part of his probation. It would have to be a real goof up on the prosecutor's part and even the court's part if those terms weren't added. But nevertheless, she probably paid this lawyer a good amount of money for him to come in and make sure something would be done that was guaranteed to be done regardless of him. Now, I've seen things like this play out over and over and over again where a lawyer gets involved and he really does nothing other than get a check for being there. And I don't know what goes through that lawyer's client's mind. She may think he's the greatest lawyer on earth. I don't know. But I can assure you that this happens frequently. And I'll give you 3 scenarios when it happens the most. Number 1, when somebody hires a lawyer to basically oversee another lawyer. So that sort of happened last week in criminal court. I've seen it a lot in the business world or the transactional world. So somebody's buying a house, say, and the bank has a lawyer who's going to do the closing, and the people will most of the time just waste their money on yet another lawyer to come in and oversee what's going on and nitpick. A second case where it's usually a waste of money to have a lawyer is to handle proceedings that are designed for lay people. So a good example would be restraining orders and harassment prevention orders. These are set up so that a person can just come in off the street and apply for one of these orders, submit an application. It's a 1-page written affidavit. There's really no reason in most cases to have a lawyer do this for you. You can do it on your own. And in most of these hearings, when the lawyer shows up, in most cases, the lawyer ends up at some point getting ignored, and the judge talks directly to the person, all right, regardless of the lawyer. In the last scenario, and this is the most broad and the most obvious, lawyers are usually 100% worthless if you can just compromise with the other side. If you have a legal dispute or a business dispute, whatever it may be, if you can compromise and settle matters on your own, you don't need a lawyer. All right? So I've written a blog post on this, and I will put it in the description below.